I am changing the word about life. We're not going to read from the prophet, but instead we're going to read from Joshua. I want you to know that part of what happened is that I wasn't able to sleep very much last night because the sermon was really bad. And so I got up early and I tried it again. And when I tried it again, I ended up getting a hold of Julie and Travis, and Travis is going to sing a song that's related to this, a song that he wrote. So there you go. So we're going to see what happens. The scripture comes from Joshua. The word about life comes from Joshua. Once when Joshua was near Jericho, he looked up and saw a man standing before him with a drawn sword in his hand, obviously a warrior of some kind. Joshua went to him and said to him, "Are you one of us or one of our adversaries?" And the man replied, "Neither. But as commander of the army of the Lord, I have now come." And Joshua, a warrior himself, fell on his face to the earth and worshipped, and he said to him, "What do you command your servant, my Lord?" And the commander of the army of the Lord said to Joshua, "Remove the sandals from your feet, for the place where you stand is holy." And Joshua did so. May the Spirit of life and love bless the reading, the hearing, the living of the word about life. Amen. Over the past few months, I've shared some new tools for our discernment toolbox, and they were not the usual tools of meditation and prayer and study and fasting. They were tools for strengthening our church family. One tool, the first one I shared, is grieving. That if you do not grieve well, then you will not get well. The second tool is joy and celebration, that there is a difference between fun and joy. We are not here, friends, for a good time, but because all is good, we are here for a profound time. Deconstruction and reconstruction is another tool. This is a continuous life process for individuals and communities, especially communities like ours, who are committed to perceiving and responding to God's newest thrust in the midst of history. This means that we have to construct, deconstruct, and reconstruct ourselves over and over and over again. Another tool is strong, demanding love. Love is not about warm fuzzies. It's about choices we make to put the good and welfare of others equal or greater than our own self-interests. We can demand this of ourselves, and we can demand it of each other. Another tool, love and power. Not opposites, but part of a greater hidden wholeness, which is God. And when done right by us, we reflect the true nature of reality. That love and power are not separate, they are not opposite, but they go hand in hand and reflect and bring out the best in each other. And when it comes to the dynamics of love and power, there is no middle ground. There is no compromise. Another tool, being true and holding a mirror. Being honest with ourselves requires courage, and just as we need each other to hold the mirror up, so the world needs us as Shadow Rock to hold the mirror up to it. Again, it takes honesty and courage. And the second to the last is the support resist scale, which was on your bulletin cover 2 weeks ago. It's a way of looking at the process of change in ourselves and in our sisters and brothers of our Shadow Rock family. And remember, the scale had 5 categories. It started on this side with actively resist, passively resist, neutral, passively supportive, and actively supportive. It had all of those dimensions to it, and that the scale helps us to become very intentional about moving the needle from one spot to the other, not trying to move it a full 180 degrees. And of course, the examples I gave were immigration and how we dealt with it and continue to deal with it as a fellowship. And the other example I gave was my wife in relationship to sushi. She moved from being actively against it to being passively supportive. If I had tried to move her from one end of the scale to the other all at once, I would be a dead man. Now, I know what you're thinking. Pastor Ken, you've gone through all these tools and you took all this time, all these weeks to do it, and you talked like 15 to 20 minutes each tool that you presented, where here you have so eloquently done so in 10 minutes. Well, I shared these tools with you to help us go through our process of discerning our next wedge blade ministry. I gave examples of application of these tools for us as individuals, our families, our church, and our society. Mostly they are relationship tools. Are discerning what God is doing in our midst and where we fit into such movements of history depends sometimes on us white-knuckling, holding on to each other. And sometimes it means that we hold on to each other with great gentleness. And maybe even some emotional distance. And so when facility team members yell at each other or drop a hammer on someone's toe, they need relationship tools to get to the other side. Because we need each other in these times. When fellow staff members challenge my thinking and frustrate me and I yell at Abbott, we need relationship tools to get to the other side. Because these are the times. And we are the people who need each other. It is said, and I think it is true, that our families of origin are where we learn to communicate and relate. And if we learn to survive in our family by being conflict avoidant or passive aggressive, then we will be conflict avoidant and passive aggressive in our families, in our workplaces, and in our church family. We need tools to help us with this. We need tools to see this in ourselves and in each other, and tools to navigate through such instances. Why? It is not for the sake of warm fuzzies. It is not for the sake of being nice. It is not even for the sake of unity for unity's sake. It is for the sake of unity because these are the times and we are the people. And we are the people born for such a time as this. The last tool is a way of thinking about the world we are in and the way the world operates within the frame of conservative and liberal and pro-establishment and anti-establishment. confidence in our institutions of law enforcement, courts, military, education, banking, capitalism, or a shaken confidence and skepticism about those institutions. This kind of either-or dualism is not helpful. You see, the spirit of life and love does not dwell in those camps. The word about life gives us this image of a human being demanding the divine to declare which side it will support. Joshua says to the commander of the Lord's army, "Whose side are you on?" And the divine says, "Neither." The subtext is that there is more than two sides, that there is a third way. It is not pro or anti. It is not conservative or liberal. The spirit of life and love transcends our human categories and the either-or dualisms that we construct. We gain everything when we take off our shoes, humble ourselves, and seek the trans-establishment way of life and love that God is already moving in. We only have to catch up. This is the place that God works in the midst of history. You see, our discernment process is seeking out this sweet spot of history. And when we find it, we will hear the Spirit among us declare, this is the place, this is the time. And we will respond with faith and love. Indeed, we are the people. Amen.